War was never part of his mission. When Commander Elias Rourke landed on the planet Zelith, he only wanted to retrieve the missing crew from a crashed Earth vessel. But instead of wreckage, he found a battlefield where humans were the uninvited enemy. The skies above Zelith were red with smoke, and the ground cracked under his boots. Strange towers rose like black bones from the earth. Each one hummed with alien energy. He had trained for hostile worlds, but this one pulsed like it had a heartbeat. He walked past the ruins of the scout drone, its metal torn apart by something. Not natural. It wasn't just battle damage. It was personal. Every hit looked like it was meant to send a message. Elias moved through the jungle ruins silently. He didn't fire, didn't speak. His mission was simple: find the source of the distress beacon and extract any survivors. But the deeper he went, the more it felt like he wasn't alone. A shadow moved between the trees, smooth, tall, watching. He didn't raise his weapon. He didn't need to. If it wanted to kill him, it already would have. This wasn't a hunt. It was a test. The signal led him to a fortress carved from stone and gold. Alien symbols glowed faintly on every wall. It wasn't abandoned. He knew before he stepped inside that someone was waiting. The gates opened not with violence, but with invitation. Elias entered calmly, unarmed. His heart beat slow, his face unreadable. He had faced worse things than alien royalty. Or so he thought. Inside, armored guards lined the throne hall. Each one wore ornate battle suits. Their eyes followed him, but none moved. They were not statues. They were waiting for a command, and then he saw her. The alien queen. She sat on a throne of metal and bone, glowing faintly with energy. Her skin was blue like deep ice. Her white hair hung in long braids. Her golden crown shimmered as she rose. She walked toward him slowly. Her steps were sharp. Her eyes sharp enough to pierce steel. She stopped only inches from him. Her voice did not come. Her lips parted slightly. Then her gaze changed. Something in her face shifted the moment she looked at him fully. Her body tensed. Her mouth tightened. Her guards leaned forward. But she raised a single hand and froze them in place. "What is your name, human?" she asked, her voice cold but not unkind. Elias didn't blink. He said it plainly. "Commander Elias Rourke, United Earth Fleet." The room fell into silence again. Her eyes widened. Just for a second. Then she whispered, "They warned me about you." And for the first time, fear crept into her voice. Elias stood still. He didn't ask who they were. He didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He only watched her. Because something ancient had just shifted in the air, and he could feel the weight of it pressing down. Asterisk. The Queen's words echoed through the great hall as if the walls themselves feared them. "They warned me about you," she repeated, softer. This time, but the guards behind her tightened their grip on their weapons. Elias did not move. His heart stayed steady, but his mind was racing. Warnings meant preparation. That meant someone had spoken his name here long before he arrived. The Queen circled him slowly. Her eyes moved like daggers over his armor. She wasn't looking for weapons. She was searching for something else. Proof. A sign. A mark that matched the ancient warning. "Do you even know why you're feared here?" she asked without facing him. Elias gave no answer. He was trained to listen first. Speak. Later. The silence made her uneasy. A glowing sigil on the wall behind the throne suddenly brightened. Her people called it the Eye of Memory. It lit up only when ancient prophecies were triggered. And now, because of him, it burned like fire. One of the guards stepped forward. "He should be taken," the soldier growled, "before the old words come true." But the Queen raised her hand once more, silencing him instantly. Elias finally spoke. "Why does my name matter here?" He asked in a low voice. "What did they say I would do?" His tone wasn't harsh, but something inside it made the warriors around her flinch. The queen stopped walking. She looked into his eyes for a long time before she answered. "They said a human would come, not with fire, not with fleets, but with a shadow over his name. And he would change everything." She stepped closer, her face now inches from his. "They said your presence would break oaths older than our empire," she said. "They said the stars would shift when you spoke, that our people would kneel or burn." Elias felt none of the pride a man should feel after hearing such words. His jaw clenched slightly. "I'm not here to kneel," he said calmly. "And I didn't come to burn anyone's world." The queen stared at him, searching for lies in his eyes. She found none. That unsettled her more than any weapon could. "Then why are you here?" she asked. "I came for my people," he replied. "A distress signal was sent from this planet. I tracked it. And now I find your world armed for war and whispering my name like a curse." The queen turned her head sharply. "The signal you followed was a trap," she said. "It was sent by my council. They knew you would come. They wanted to see if the prophecy was true." Elias didn't react, but the words stabbed at his gut. He had walked into this planet thinking he was rescuing someone. But now it seemed he was the one being hunted. She stepped back slowly. "You shouldn't have come, human," she said. "Because now, I have to decide whether you are the key to our future or the blade that ends us." Asterisk. Elias stood in the center of the grand hall, while hundreds of golden-armored guards watched him like a storm about to strike. The queen paced in front of him, her long white braids swaying with every step. She looked like royalty, but her eyes held fear, a fear that came from ancient knowledge. "The prophecies didn't lie," she said. "They said the human would not bring death with weapons. He would bring death with truth." Elias stayed silent for a moment. Then he asked, "What truth are you afraid of?" His words were soft, but they struck her like thunder. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she lifted her hand, and a panel of glowing stone lit up behind her. An image appeared of a figure standing between stars, surrounded by fire and shadow. "That is you," she said, voice tight. "Or what our ancestors believed you would become. The destroyer, the unmaker, the one who speaks and changes fate." Elias stared at the image. It didn't look like him, but something about it felt familiar, not in shape, but in weight. As if the universe had been carrying this moment for too long. "I didn't come here to change your fate," he said. "But maybe fate brought me here anyway." The queen's jaw tightened. "You don't understand. If I let you leave, the council will see it as weakness. If I imprison you, your people will come. And if I kill you, we may start a war we cannot win." Elias looked up at the high ceiling. It was covered in stars, carved into stone. But each constellation was wrong, different. They showed paths no human chart had ever seen. "This world is older than we guessed," he said. "You've had time to prepare for war, but not for peace. That's what scares you the most." She stared at him again, longer this time. Her voice dropped. "You speak like them," she said. "The ancients. The ones who vanished before we were born. They too used words that made empires tremble." Elias felt something stir deep inside his chest. A memory that wasn't his. A vision that didn't belong to him. But still, it pulled him forward. The guards shifted uneasily. The air had grown colder. The sigil on the wall burned brighter. It was reacting to something. Not rage, not fear, but connection. "I'm not your enemy," Elias said. "But I can't let your fear decide what happens next. I came for answers." And now I need the truth. The queen lowered her head slightly. Then come with me, she said. There's something buried beneath this city. If you truly are the one the stars spoke of, it will answer to you. Or it will destroy us both. The queen walked ahead without saying a word. Her guards parted like waves before her. Elias followed closely behind, feeling the pressure of every stare on his back. They moved through deep hallways carved from black stone. The walls pulsed with blue veins of ancient power. Symbols etched long ago lit up as they passed. The path twisted downward, far below the throne room. The further they went, the more it felt like the world above was fading away. Finally, they stopped at a massive gate. It had no handles, no hinges, only smooth metal fused with glowing crystal. The queen turned to Elias and held out her hand. You must open it, she said. This door doesn't answer to me. It only opens to the one the stars chose. Elias stepped forward. He didn't know what would happen. His hand reached out and touched the cold surface. Light exploded across the gate like lightning through water. The stone cracked with a deep, ancient sound. The metal folded inward, revealing a chamber lit by floating orbs. Inside, the air was thick with age and memory. In the center stood a structure part machine, part monument. It hummed like it had been waiting for a name, waiting for him. What is this place? Elias asked. The queen answered quietly. It is the heart of Zelith. It records all who threaten or protect our people. And it remembers names that change the stars. Elias approached the core slowly. As he drew closer, the lights around it turned from blue to gold. A symbol appeared in the air, glowing and shifting until it formed letters in human language. The name was his hands clenched at his sides. He had never been to this world before, yet the system knew him. It had waited through centuries for his arrival. Behind him, the queen lowered her head. Then it's true, she whispered. You are the one who brings the shift. The one who decides if our empire rises or falls. Elias looked back at her. I didn't ask for that, he said. She met his eyes. Neither did I, but the time for asking is over. Now we choose. The heart of Zelith glowed brighter than before. The air inside the ancient chamber became still, as if even the light was holding its breath. Elias stood in front of the glowing monument, trying to understand what had just happened. His name had appeared without him speaking it. The machine had known him before he was born. The queen stepped closer, her voice low. Our ancestors warned us that a human would come, that he would not be a conqueror, but a mirror. What we saw in him would decide who we became. Elias turned back to face her. What do you see now? He asked. She looked at him for a long time. Her fingers tightened around the edge of her robe. I see a man who could destroy us. But I also see someone who came without a weapon in his hand. Suddenly, the ground shook. The chamber lights flickered. One of the guards rushed down the steps. My queen, he shouted. The High Council has gathered. They demand your presence. They know the heart has awakened. The queen nodded without speaking. Her eyes stayed on Elias as if trying to hold on to a thought she didn't want to lose. They returned to the upper levels quickly. The throne room had changed. Now it was filled with council elders in long robes, standing in a half-circle before the throne. Each one had symbols on their foreheads, showing their bloodline and role. Most looked old, wise, and deeply afraid. He cannot stay, one elder said firmly. You have seen what the heart did. His presence has triggered prophecy. We must end this before it begins. Another spoke. His kind brought ruin to other systems. This one may do the same. We must strike now while we still hold power. The queen raised her hand. The room fell silent. She looked at Elias and then turned to the elders. You fear him because of what you were told, not because of what he's done. One elder replied, Prophecy is not a choice, it is warning. You were chosen to stop him. If you do nothing, we may be remembered as the council who let Zelith burn. Elias stepped forward. I didn't come here to fight you, he said. But if you make me your enemy, I'll do what I must to survive. Gasps filled the room. The queen didn't react. Instead, she stepped down from her throne and stood beside him. He came unarmed. He stood before the heart and spoke no threats. And still, it accepted him. A murmur ran through the council. The younger elders shifted nervously while the oldest closed their eyes as if listening for voices from long ago. The queen raised her voice. I will not harm the one chosen by the stars. He is under my protection now. And if that makes me a traitor to fear, then so be it. Asterisk. The council chamber remained silent as the queen stood beside Elias. Her voice had defied tradition. Her stance had broken every rule written into their blood. Some elders backed away. Others looked toward one another, waiting for someone else to speak first. None dared challenge her with blades, but their eyes carried war. Elias did not shift. He stood still, his breathing calm, his hands open. He didn't need to convince anyone. The heart had already done that. You protect a stranger over your own people, one elder said coldly. I protect the future, the queen answered. And he is part of it whether you accept it or not. Another elder stepped forward. His voice was softer. Then let him prove it, not to us, but to Zelith itself. Elias looked at him. How? He asked. The elder pointed toward the sky through the open roof. Above them, a storm had begun. Dark clouds gathered, circling the sky as the air filled with static. It's happening, the queen whispered. The star judgment. The heart of Zelith was more than a monument. It was a key, a signal. And now, with Elias's name awakened, it called something far greater than their world. A beam of gold shot upward from the mountain core. It cut through the storm and reached the stars. The sky responded with a light none had seen in generations. The clouds parted, not with thunder but with silence. And from the center came a ship, not of Earth, not of Zelith. It was older than both. Its body shimmered like water and fire combined. The queen fell to her knees. Her people followed. The ancients, she breathed. They are watching again. Elias stood alone as the ship hovered above the mountain. A voice entered his mind. It was not male, not female. Just power. We remember your name. We see your path. You may choose peace. Or you may ignite the stars again. He looked at the queen. Then at the council. Then he closed his eyes and made his choice. I choose peace, he said. The storm faded. The ship vanished into light. And the beam from the heart dimmed to silence. The mountain stopped shaking. The world held still. The queen rose and stepped toward Elias. Her expression had changed. She was no longer unsure. Zelith is yours to guide, she said. Not by rule, but by trust. Elias nodded. Then let's start something better. Together, and on that day, without blood, without war, a human and a queen rewrote the future of two worlds with nothing but a name, a choice, and a promise.